Hey everyone, welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV for your lunchtime daily stream. How is everyone doing? I hope all of you guys are well. A few transfer stories to get through today, and as you can see, oh look who's just joined me. There he is. Hi Kev,
I
you all right?
all good, all good. Am I moving okay? I'm not lagging
You're moving
before I
all right,
start.
mate. Yeah, all good, all good.
I'm moving good.
How
I'm
are
moving
you?
good.
How's your week
All good.
been?
Ah, stressful, stressful. I've got a lot on moving forward with my own coaching or business. Yeah, I'm taking on a lot of new people and planning new football teams and planning camps, and it's just a lot of hard work for one man. So I'm trying to take on someone else to help me out with it. But that's another story. But in respective of Chelsea, what a boring game of the week. I never watched it because I was at football, but I watched the highlights. What a boring game that was. And that
You
was a
didn't
game
miss.
I was contemplating because I missed quite a few games, and my players are asking me, Kev, why do you miss so many games? Because I have to miss my team's games to go to Chelsea and miss training sessions. And I says, no, I'm not going
Mm,
to Brentford. I backed out last minute, and thank God I did. Because my team,
yeah,
we won 5-2 the weekend. We beat a team 5-2, and it was an entertaining game. Imagine if I took my time out once again to travel down to London, taking hours and hours and hours and hours to get down there to watch a 0-0 draw and walking out
yeah.
thinking, what am I doing here? And it's beginning to be it's a regular occurrence, isn't it? When I walk out the stadium, I just don't feel like I'm getting my money, even though I pay next to nothing for the tickets. But it feels like, am I getting fulfilled with enjoyment watching Chelsea? It's never the case. I think Tottenham,
Yeah,
yeah, slight improvements against Tottenham, but I think they must have got a lot hyped up for a game with it being a local derby. But I think 90% of the games I've been to this season, I have not been happy with the way we played. I've not been happy with
mm,
the energy and the way we moved the ball and how slow we moved the ball. I
yeah,
could keep on complaining, but there's got to be a time where I think the times now where I think I'm going to go to another two more games. I'm done with it now. You know, I can't be skipping. I can't be missing out on my life stuff like against Arsenal away. I left this. I left. I got up the M6 and my clutch went. So I'm putting myself at risk with stuff. I'm putting myself behind for Chelsea, and they're not even matching me because when I go to the games, it's just boring. So I've got to make
mm.
the choices now. Is Chelsea really that important? And I'm sure a lot of fans are feeling with it. Um, are you really getting your money's worth when you go to Chelsea games at the moment?
Well, you're definitely not with how much
Yeah, but
travel
I'm
you
not.
have as well coming
Yeah,
down and everything. It's a
yeah.
lot. You take a lot of your time out. And the thing is with me as well, match days take up my whole day kind of thing. Like if it's match day, I'm not doing anything else. I'm just going to go to the game and I'm just going to come back and we'll do the content and everything around it. But I'm in London, and even for me, it's like an hour and a half to get to Stamford Bridge. Obviously,
Uh,
you want to be there ahead of kickoff. Sometimes there's delays, and then you get there, and then you meet a couple friends before going, watch the game, do the fan cams after, then wait around for
yeah.
the tube with the train, and then that's it. Pretty much your day is absolutely done, and it's a lot. And then you
Mm,
watch that football. It's not great, is it? But yeah, a lot
yeah.
of fans are just now like, you know what, just get the results until the end of the season. Don't bother too much about what the football looks like. But as a match day going fan, it is the football you look forward to. Yeah, of course, it's the result, but at the end of the day, you want to enjoy the experience. You want to see your players create some good bits. You want to see some good goals or just a little bit of fight. So obviously, like the Tottenham one, that is like with the context of that one, that's entertaining as it is because we know what that means for the fans and it's a derby, like you say, everyone's
Mm,
fired up, the atmosphere's great, form doesn't really matter going into it. You're just always gonna rock up and be excited for a derby like that. But like you say, take the Arsenal one, that was dull. That was dull as
Oh,
anything.
that
So
that
yeah, I
Arsenal.
totally get it.
I don't think that Arsenal game has put me back weeks and it set me back because the amount of money that one day has cost me. Like it was a nightmare from the start. I think I lost my cap. So basically, I stopped at a service station and I changed my shirt and I put my cap on the roof and I drove off. I drove off and left
Mm,
my cap on top. So from the start to finish, it was a nightmare. And that game, you know what it was? if the game of football was good, say if that 90 minutes of football was entertaining, I would have been so bothered about it. But when I think about that 90 minutes of football we witnessed, it makes it 10 times worse. So this is what we
Yeah.
do. We turn up. We have to take.
Oh, we've lost Kev. We've lost Kev. That's how boring the Chelsea football has been, guys. I'm sure he'll get back in here shortly, but let's say hello to some of you guys. Hope everyone is well, by the way. Yeah, honestly, what a game yesterday that was, hey? And here we are, guys, turning our attention to the Conference League tomorrow after Arsenal beat Real Madrid 3-0. Yeah, it's not fun, is it? But yeah, what a game that was. And Declan Rice's free kicks. Oh my. And we're talking about Liam Delap. Yep. We will talk about Liam Delap shortly in a little bit more detail. How is everybody joining? Stephen, how are you? Hope you're well. We'll talk about the transfer news shortly. Big up to you as well. Please add Osman. Yeah, I'll tell you why, guys. We've not added Osman today. Hello, guys. Great show. Thank you very much, Dylan. Good to see you. Rice vs Caicedo finally got settled last night. Haha, you wish. Welcome to possession-based football. It is dull, isn't it? Don't like it. But that's the way we're going down, right? Yorkeres, yeah, we'll talk about all the transfer news, guys. Signing of Delap should be protested and we need to demand a competent sporting director. Everything should be done with power to secure Champions League football is if he becomes available. Campos, got you. Good afternoon, everyone. Jordan, how are you? Guys, make sure you smash the like button on your way into the stream. Hit the like button. If we can get to 50 today, that would be unreal, guys. Thank you. Right then, let's just get straight into the big news. Well, obviously, Chelsea have made it quite clear that they're going to move quickly come June time because obviously, you know, we're competing in the Club World Cup. We're going to have a lot of games and we're pretty much going to carry straight through into the new season. You know, so will City, but it is going to be a lot in terms of overloaded fixtures and no time to really reset. You know, it's very much just feels like once, you know, the league is done and obviously hopefully we've secured Champions League football, we turn our attention to that. And I think, you know, we will be busy. We will be busy, and it just very much depends on how realistic we are in our pursuit for a striker. And it just does seem like, and this is the thing, this is why this doesn't have much weight to it at the moment. You know, the fact that, you know, Chelsea always is apparently in for a striker at every window, and then it seems like we just ignore it and leave it for next time. This time, I believe, is going to be different, guys. We will go in, I think, for a striker this summer. And obviously, Liam Delap has been kind of thrown into that mix as maybe the most realistic of the bunch. However, I think, you know, obviously he's got a 40 million release clause. Ipswich obviously will be relegated. He will be looking to join a club. And apparently from the sounds of it, he wants to join a club that's competing in Europe. Manchester United are in for him as well, looking around. And then obviously all the other strikers that are out there are a little bit more unrealistic, in my opinion. Now, someone mentioned Victor Osimhen, and I honestly don't believe that will ever get over the line at Chelsea. Personally, that's my opinion. And, you know, we've whispered it every single window. We do absolutely talk about Victor Osimhen. However, I just don't think it's a feasible signing and one we'll go for. You know, if you look at other strikers that are out there, obviously Yorkeres is going to be a hot, you know, property, someone that lots of clubs are going to look at. And, you know, you'd say that, again, probably got a little bit more experience, a little bit more goal scoring ability there, and maybe will fit us a little bit better. However, I do think that Chelsea will be quite set on signing Liam Delap if that's the case. And, Kev, I think, has just joined us. Kev, you back with us, mate?
Oh, my life. I apologise for all the watchers. Let me say this. If you're going to sign up with Fresh Fibre, don't be a victim of the scam. They sold me a dream. I had perfectly fine internet, and they sold me a dream saying you're going to get the best fibre optic the best speeds ever, and it's literally I'm paying more for a worse service.
Not
So
the
fresh
fiber
fiber,
optic, mate. You fell for the
yeah.
trap.
If anyone works with fresh fiber or anyone got a link to fresh fiber,
I think
do
they're
not
certainly
sign
going
the
to stay
contract. You're
away when
getting
they see
scammed.
your
Yeah, you're getting
connection
scammed.
right
But yeah,
now.
we move forward. What's the latest, Nina?
Well, we're just talking about our striker pursuits in
My
summer,
internet's
mate.
awful. It's awful.
Yeah, no, it's pretty laggy. Is it can you connect to
Yeah.
your hotspot or something through your phone?
Can you hear me at all?
Maybe you could hotspot. No, we can hear you, but you're just freezing up a little bit. Yeah,
Can you
you're
hear me?
freezing up. You're lagging, mate. Do you want to
Can you hear?
try and connect your hotspot from your phone or something?
Oh, this is bad. All
Yeah,
right,
it's pretty
give me
bad.
1 second. Let me off this and I'll come back. One second.
No worries.
Let me come off this and come back.
But yeah, guys, obviously from your comments here, I can see there's quite a mixed reaction in terms of Liam Delap signing. And yeah, lost his cap and his internet signal pretty much, right? But yeah, obviously Liam Delap, not a great, an extensive CV behind his back, but obviously he's done quite well for himself. A lot of people are saying, you know, if he wasn't at Ipswich and he was somewhere else, maybe he'd be a little bit more highly regarded. If you look at his goals this season, I believe he scored one more than, and I always say this, Jackson. And obviously Jackson's been out for some time, and you know maybe it's not the best comparison to make. However, I think that signing Delap, you're maybe going for someone who is still yet to kind of develop and still has got more to do, more to grow, as opposed to someone who's a little bit more well-rounded and well-established, like someone we should be going in for. However, I do think he's a good player. I definitely think that, you know, he could bring in that kind of physicality we've been missing. You know, he's obviously he's a big guy. And, you know, some of the finishes that he's shown been pretty good this season. So, you know, does he upgrade Chelsea is a big question. And is he someone that can absolutely elevate us almost immediately and improve our goal scoring ways? Maybe we could see some of our wingers get better numbers or certainly get more assists now if we have someone there with a greater box presence. But I don't think we need someone who is another what if. He doesn't quite fit the what if category completely like some of our other youngsters that we've brought in through the ranks. Kev, third time lucky, mate. Can we see and hear you? Say something.
Yeah, I'm connected to my iPhone now. Is that better?
I want to say
Is that better now?
slightly.
I'm connected to my
I think
some hotspots,
so.
so it should be moving. Yeah, that should be. I can see you're not moving funny now. So yeah.
No.
So
All right,
where
then,
was we
mate.
at? Sorry about the interruption once again.
Talk to me. Liam Delap. Do you rate him?
Potential. High ceiling value. He's got a lot of potential. He scored a decent amount of goals for a very bad team.
However, I want to ask you this. Is that a good thing? As in, I don't know how to phrase this. Should he be praised for that, for standing out in this Ipswich side and, you know, helping them score goals? Or is that just showcasing that if he comes to maybe a better team, he won't stand out as much or be as good?
If he's scoring goals in a lesser side in the best league in the world, what happens when he gets more service and playing around better players? Is going to score more goals, isn't he? And the thing with Liam Delap is, it's not only his goals that he brings to the table, it's his work rate. You know, that's what struck me when we played against Ipswich at Portman Road. When he run our defence ragged, he chased every single loose ball. But the thing is as well, what it's Mark Greer can do the same kind of thing. And this is why I say potential. We need to kind of move away from potential. But obviously with Delap, it's a totally different scenario because he's proven himself and he scored goals this season. But would a Mark Greer do a similar kind of thing in the Ipswich shirt? Maybe he would do, because they're both similar kind of strikers in a way that the press and they want to get on the ball and they work hard and they can finish. But I feel like we need to be looking high up the spectrum for me. If we're going to get in the Champions League, I think we need to be going for Usherman. We need to be going for Guy Corres. Those are the kind of caliber strikers we're going for. I think Delap, maybe in 2-3 years, he becomes that mold of a striker. But for now, we're looking at the word potential, isn't it? And sometimes potential never comes to fruition. It's never known, don't you? So yeah, it's good that we linked with him, but I'd be doing anything possible to go for a guy who goes as an Usherman.
Definitely. I think there's still an element to a risk factor to it, isn't it? And we want to move away from the risk factor players. Obviously, like, we know this best. Even signing the well-established strikers in the past, it doesn't always guarantee that it
Yeah,
ends well and it's a happily ever after. But I think there's, again, less of a risk there. And if you're going to go out and splash cash, then just go and bring someone that is actually very well established and already has an extensive CV behind them. And I just think for Delap, it's not disrespectful, but I just think that the hype around Delap has been elevated by the fact that he's, been almost Ipswich savior in a way, and has actually, like, really been that kind of in the spotlight in those games where, he has scored goals and he's helped them have some memorable games in the league this year. But again, I just think that has just almost elevated the individual's kind of, do you get what I'm saying at his hype as
yeah,
an individual? And I think that, if you maybe put him in a different team like Chelsea right now, or maybe, Manchester United probably will, equally be in for him, because he definitely is an upgrade on Hoyland, for example. But again, I just think that there is still too much of a potential what if risk tag, attached to him. And I think that Chelsea need to go away from that. Because you're right, Mark Gear is a player that can compete with Jackson. I mean,
yeah.
that's rude. Liam Delap has obviously got more goals and stuff, but do you know what I mean? I
Well,
think I agree with
it's not.
you. I'd rather be going down a different route.
It's just the same. It's just the same old. Like if we go and get, okay, you got to, the lab is
This
going
is
to be
funny.
more overhyped. Yeah. The lap's going to be more hyped. English tax, also with him scoring goals this season. But you got to think, Mark Greer, he's had a lot less opportunities. But when he has played, I've been very impressed with what he's done. Very in
Top
pre-season,
scorer in the
he's
Conference
done
League,
really well.
mate.
In the Conference League, he's done really well. So why go and splash £50 million on a player which you've already got a player for £5 million, which is similar age, similar mold, similar characteristics? I just don't get the point in doing it. You need to go and
But
get
I think
someone.
Chelsea will be all over that, though. Chelsea will be all over a player like Delap, because he's almost, like, in their eyes, going to be the perfect mix between potential and evident talent there in terms of goal scoring ability, isn't it? And he's 22, so he fits the profile of the players that we've gone for as well.
Yeah, and also he's also playing under Maresca. So Maresca's gonna know him well. He's played with Lavia, he's played with Parma, he's played with Tosin, Man City. So he knows plenty of the players within the mix-up. So there's a lot of boxes ticked for him to come, but I still feel like he's not proving yet. He's not proving enough. And this is the
Mm.
thing: the majority of the squad that we've got are not proving yet. And that's where we are where we are now. We need to go for more proven players that have done it. And there's not many strikers at that top in the top of the game at the moment. There's not many. But there's Guy
Mm.
Corres and there's Osherman that you can go and get right now that want to leave and they want to. So if we do get Champions League football, we should be attracting. We should be going for that caliber of player. There's no excuses. But I just haven't got the belief that we're going to go and do it. We was that close this summer to going and getting Osherman Dole, but we run it down to the last few minutes, and it's well documented that we
That
couldn't. We couldn't get those
I
goals.
don't believe it will ever happen. To me, Victor Osimhen is like a myth and a legend at Chelsea. Like, that whole story, it's just, in my eyes, it's never going to happen. If it could, and it was actually realistic, it would have by
Would have
now.
happened.
And let's be real, if we were actually serious about Victor Osimhen last year, we were talking about him at the very start of the window. They should have struck then. They should have gone, completed the business at the start of the window, and not just pretended like they were going to try and get Victor Osimhen over the line on deadline day. Like,
Yeah,
that was just always going to, like, it's never going to happen. And then
yeah,
2 hours before the window was closing, let's wait and see. Is it going to happen? Well, obviously not. You don't, a Victor Osimhen transfer doesn't just happen in a couple hours on deadline day. And again, we should have gone about that a lot more seriously and just done it at the very start, secured Victor Osimhen if that is the route we wanted to go down. and then we move on. We were in a good position. We were going to be in a good position in terms of negotiation as well, because obviously, I mean, he wanted a permanent move, didn't he? He didn't just want to go out on loan, and he was, kind of ready to move away, start his career elsewhere. But we missed that, I think, at
Yeah,
the time. And
100%.
I don't know, in my opinion, it's just always going to be that kind of whisper, and we'll whisper about him again in summer, but I don't think we'll ever get him over the line at Chelsea. It's just my opinion.
Honestly, I really haven't got the confidence of us going and getting elite now. I really haven't. We've had opportunities to do it over the last
Mm.
couple of seasons, and we've been close. And then a couple of months later, we go and sign 2 Portuguese players, 17-year-old for combined fee £75 million. So you can see where the caliber of players and the what we're going for. It's clear to see the money's there. The money is there. It's available, but we're choosing not to do it, and it's for a reason. If it doesn't match their contract, because obviously they've got a contract budget. If it's over the 150k mark, we're not touching it with a barge pole.
Yeah,
So
and I sort
what
of get it
players?
from that side, because I mean, look, the wage structure implementation, it took a while to
Yeah,
get down, isn't it? And they wanted to make sure that, this is how it, like, the route we're going to go down. So it's almost like, I kind of get it in a sense, and I respect the fact that you don't want to just completely bend your new philosophy with the wage structure just for Victor Osimhen to come in and demand, a crazy wage. But at the same time, you need to be absolutely realistic with what your team is missing. And in this current moment, to recognize that Chelsea have been deprived of an out-and-out number 9, a goal scorer, someone that just can be a target man and finish a lot of these chances that our, players will create. We have so many crosses in the team, but they're never going to anyone. And I just think that, yes, I get it from a sense that, we didn't want to just throw everything that we've tried to build in terms of that wage structure. And, nobody is bigger than the club, and nobody deserves to be getting, crazy money they demand for. Work harder, your money will go up. You'll get a different contract. You will be incentivized with certain things. That's, I guess, a good, it's a good structure to have. And then obviously, maybe at the time signing Victor Osimhen would have completely thrown that out the window. But again, you just have to be realistic. It's like, how badly do you want it? How badly do you need it, right?
this is Charles Football Club near though. Like, this is the thing. Okay, I appreciate that they're trying to change the wage structure and make it more
Yeah.
affordable and everything else, but you've got to understand, this is not Brighton Football Club. This is Chelsea Football Club. You cannot change the structure of the club so much to the point where we're only attracting kids.
Mm.
And the thing is, we are not going to be in contention for the league titles. We're not going to be like, for me personally, I don't think we'll get Champions League football now this season.
Oh,
So
Kev,
ultimately,
you just stabbed me in
yeah,
the heart.
you knock you're biting your nose off to spite your face. Because end of the day, Champions League, can you afford to drop out the Champions League year after year after year after year after year? Because that's a massive influx of money that you're missing out on. So
Mm.
where's the balance here? Where's the
Yep.
planning here? Like, we know Jackson. Jackson is a phenomenal player. Let's be real. I rate Jackson very highly, and it was evident to see against Tottenham what we've been missing the last few games prior to him coming back. Just that presence in the middle of the park, in the middle of the defenders, the running them behind, the link up play. But imagine if we had Jackson linking up with Osimhen this season. Imagine that. I think we'd be closer to Liverpool than what you think. Just that one signing. So basically, you're creating this wage structure dilemma, but easily you can bring in a player and you could have won leagues and got in Champions League and got more profit and got more money
Mm.
anyway. So can you see where I'm
Yeah.
coming through with it?
No, I absolutely. And again, I
Yeah,
hear that
just doesn't.
standpoint.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it from a perspective of what, our the new structure has tried to do. Because, we've been, excuse me, so set on this kind of new way of signing players, potential players, players that can, eventually be sold for a profit, players that won't be on crazy wages, etc., etc. Just players that are keen to get behind a project, right?
yeah.
And because we've kind of done that and built that and gone down that avenue, I feel like that's the avenue they're going to continue taking. Because, we keep calling for the experience, we keep calling for the proven players, the established players, yet we keep having what ifs and potentials coming through the door. And if you've got one good season, perfect, you're hired. And again, it's like, we will get behind just going away from that just for one window to sign a player that's going to come in and instantly upgrade us. And like you say, if we keep missing out on Champions League football, I hate to say it, but we become less and less attractive to a player that's looking to go and has the potential to play Champions League football and, you know, can score goals game in, game out. And you can't blame the player. And let's be real, a lot of players nowadays, young as well, are incentivized by the idea of playing in European leagues. You know, projects are less appealing if you want to kind of hit the ground running at a certain, you know, just immediately and play against the best teams, top teams. So that's actually a sad thought, right? You know, I doubt many players are sitting there dreaming of playing in the Conference League. And again, if there's a project that you can get behind, and a lot of our players that have been signed in the last 3 years have obviously been sold this project clearly for them to come and join. But at one point, they're going to turn around, and when you can see that it's clearly not going anywhere, you're going to want to move away, right? That's why we all fear the day that maybe Cole Palmer turns around and says, actually, we're not getting anywhere with this project. See you later, mate. I'd like to go and play somewhere else. And you know, can you blame the player?
The players in the squad, they all talk to each other. They're all mates. Like, can you see with an Kinky's situation now? Clear to see the guy doesn't want to be nowhere near us.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be nowhere. He doesn't believe in the project. He's not happy with the project. He's not happy within the team. That can have a wash-on effect with other players within the squad. It's simple. And do you think Cole Palmer, I'll give it another season. If we don't get Champions League either this season or next season, do you think Cole Palmer coming into his mid-20s, because he's going to be 24, 25 at that time, if you think Cole Palmer's going to want to stay around and believe and trust this process that we've been told for the last how many years, he's going to be gone.
Yep. And you can't blame him, because he's a player that recognises, and Cole Palmer above anyone, we've seen it, because, you know, he demanded for a move away from City. Well, you know, not demanded, but he knew that he was good enough to go and play somewhere regularly and you know, be a regular starter. And he obviously has become that. But, you know, I can't lie. I'd love to say Cole Palmer's interested in sticking around and becoming a Chelsea legend, but let's be real. You know, he wants to play in the Champions League, and he knows that he's perfectly capable of doing so and performing elsewhere. So again, eventually, if he gets a call from, you know, elsewhere, be it Madrid or wherever else, at some point, that's going to be a very appealing offer to him. And we have to very much be realistic. You know, I'd love to say that Palmer sticks around and becomes, you know, a Lampard for us, club legend, whatever, sticks around for 8, 9. Sign him up for 8 more years, lock him up more like for 8 more years, because I don't know if he's staying.
Those days are done. You know, those there's no look at Trent.
That makes me so upset, because it's like, you know, I always talk about this. It's like, who do you put on the back of your shirt that you know is going to actually be there for a long period of time? Like Thiago Silva's the last player I've had on my back.
James has probably proved to me that he's hard.
That's it. That's it, Kev. Realistically, Cole Palmer, obviously, for like Palmer, you know, Palmer shirt sales are crazy. But, you know, in terms of a player having like a legend on your back that in 10 years' time you can go to a game and rock up with I don't know, will you rock up with a Dewsbury Hall on your back? No, you won't. Will you rock up with
long forgotten? Long forgotten. There's only James, and I can think of that. I feel like he'd actually turn down a massive offer to stay with Charles, because he loves Charles that much. And and put it like this, with a fully fit Reece James, he's well clear of Chelsea. If Trent's gone to Real Madrid, that James should be playing for a better team, because he's better than Trent. So there's no loyalty in football, and the thing is, our time's running out to keep hold of our prize assets. Enzo. Linked to Real Madrid, Calcedo, Spanish talking player, maybe Barcelona coming for a player that quality. You got Palmer.
Yeah, so true.
Man City, if they come back, his head to be turned. There's that many quality prize assets are not going to hang around any much longer. And to believe in this process, we've got to get Champions League this year. As I'm telling you now, it's just going to get difficult. We're not going to attract, like you're looking at other teams that can attract players like us because they're willing to pay the wages. We haven't got Champions League football. We're not paying the wages. So how the hell are we going to get back in the Champions? You've got to think other teams around us are getting stronger. Newcastle, if they get Champions League, which I feel like they might sneak into that 4th place. They will strengthen. They've got the money. They will strengthen. They will attract. If they keep Isak, they will strengthen around him. Other teams around us are getting better, and we're not gonna. We're just gonna keep on signing these 17, 18-year-olds that are not going to pay for 2, 3 years time. So
Yeah.
it's just
In my
as much
head,
as
I think Chelsea already know. I think Chelsea already know they're going to go in for Delap in summer, and I think we'll be linked with other strikers, and we always do get linked with the big names. But I think ultimately they have it down already that this is probably the avenue they want to go down because fits the profile. We can pay the money, and also he is, in their eyes, like Nicholas Jackson has a good one season behind him. The advantage is it was in the Prem, if you want to say that, and then, has a high ceiling potentially. So that will be the basis, I think, on that signing. And, that's probably where we go down. But anyways, before we get really sentimental and continue down this avenue and I, reminisce about the past, let's just go through these couple super chats here. And to everyone who's just joined, thank you guys. There's 82 of you. If you could all hit the like button and get us to 50 likes today, that would be fantastic. Maybe even 60 if you're feeling generous. But Richie here, thanks for the super chat and thanks for reminding us again that Real Madrid got smashed by Arsenal 3-0.
Oh no. Real Madrid had one job just to literally save football. But look, I'm not bothered. This is typical Arsenal. They'll do something like this. They'll probably beat Real Madrid at Bernabeu and go out to Bayern Munich or something like that. So listen, the football is still alive. Just keep the faith. They will bottle it. Yeah, and when they do bottle it on this channel, we'll hear it first. But let me say, let me put another point across. If it wasn't for Cobham, and us putting Declan Rice onto the pedestal he's on now, Arsenal would have won 3-0. So thanks to Cobham. Arsenal need to thank Cobham for that 3-0 last night. And let me say, 2 tremendous free kicks by Declan Rice as well. Absolutely.
They were
phenomenal.
like, I mean, the fruit, just insane. The fact that,
insane.
Yeah, no, it's insane. I think there was a stat that he hasn't taken or scored free kicks in like 450 days or something crazy like that, and then he scored 2 in like 15 minutes.
What in the hell
Incredible
that's
goals.
good to see. And look, hopefully Tommy Tuchel's watching that as well for England duties. So hopefully we haven't
from an England standpoint, it's good,
and
isn't
hopefully
it?
we haven't got to witness Harry Kane taking set plays any longer because the Declan Rice pulls out that technique on 2 occasions, 2 free kicks in one game. That's something you don't hear. But to do it how he did, the first one was brilliant, but the second one even better. Goes to show the quality there. But it hurts my soul thinking that just on the back end of the Bromwich ever, we was that close to signing him. We was that close to getting over the line. Then we got that transfer ban, and then we went to Arsenal. It's just wow. So it's hard to take, but like I said, football is not. It's not finished yet. Arsenal still will bottle it. So let's all keep the faith.
It was quite funny to see them say, why hasn't he been taking free kicks for us like this whole time? Like, quite funny. But yeah, no, it's hurt. Like, I mean, I just thought back to the time where we played our last Champions League game against Real Madrid, didn't we? When they beat us 2-0 at the Bridge, and it was 2-0, wasn't it? We lost at the Bridge, and
no, it was 3-1 at Bernabeu. No, 3-2, 3-2. Benzema scored in extra time. I think it was 2-0 up one with Alonso and Mount, and then they brought it back.
We gifted Benzema such good goal. Oh, I don't even want to talk about it. But anyways, I said to Alex,
that was at the Bridge. That was at the Bridge, wasn't it? When Mendy passed the ball straight to him. Yeah.
And I said to Alex, I was like, I will go to that game because I don't know when the last time we played in the Champions League was. Like, we were so bad that we were such a bad dark place then. I was like, I'm just going to go just to enjoy the football. And then you see Arsenal getting a night like that against them in the quarters. But yeah, obviously, what do you reckon? Do you reckon they'll go out there and defend the lead at the Bernabeu?
Yeah. When you think you got a 3-0 advantage, and Arsenal, let's be real, defensively disciplined on set plays, defensively disciplined with the structure, hard to break down. I'm sure Arteta's going to have that in mind going to Bernabeu. Easier said than done when you got Mbappe and Vinny and Rodrigo and everything else they've got, Bellingham, but they've got a 3-0 advantage. And it's not the Arsenal we've seen over the last few years where they ship goals in and set plays or on counters. They are well disciplined and well set up and drilled. So it's going to be difficult for Real Madrid to turn over. It's not been and gone. It's not all over yet, but you'd have to say I think Arsenal will see that out now. 3-0's it's a massive lead to lose, but you never know. The biggest bottlers in the history of the game. You just never know, don't you? You just never know.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like it's Real Madrid and it is the Champions League, and it's like you just know that anything is possible. But anyways, moving on from Arsenal, well done. Richie asks, what about Nico Williams? Well, that's a nice way to segue then into the other stories that have popped up recently. Obviously, like I said, Chelsea will be busy apparently in that kind of opening week of June before we kind of, take to the Club World Cup. So there are obviously quite a few different wingers that we've been linked to. It seems like every time we know we need a striker, we go in for wingers. And I think one thing is clear. We can absolutely sign wingers, but if we don't actually sign a striker in that mix as well, then that's going to be thoroughly disappointing. Because we're linked with Victor Osimhen. We'll get him over the line on deadline day. But here's Jadon Sancho, guys. Congratulations. But anyways, Nico Williams.
How many more wingers do we need?
But you say that, Kev. You say that, Kev, but obviously, we've got some wonder kids coming through, and obviously, I think Pies will go to Strasbourg on loan. Esteval, but there's the thing that you have to look at our wingers. A lot of them need to step up right now. They are not goal-scoring wingers, really, as of such. Noni Madueke was scoring at the start. Sancho was assisting. He's had a bit of a drop-off. Neto, I think, has been great in terms of everything else apart from, we need more goals from him. So Nico Williams is an interesting one. I think, maybe consistency has dropped off a little bit, but he is a talented player. But is he someone that Chelsea should go in for?
It's clear what we've got now. And he will. He's direct. And me and Matt.
He scored many goals this season, though, if I'm not wrong. Does someone know how many goals he scored? If I'm not wrong.
No, but if you look at the way he plays compared to what we've got now, he is very direct. He'll get into the box and he'll make things happen. And when you continuously see the way our wingers are performing on a weekly basis, and me and Matt had this conversation at the end of the Tottenham game last week on the fan cam, there was a time where I was sat in the shed lower, and Pedro Neto was doing step overs at 1 mile an hour. He had no, what's the word I'm looking for? No drive to quickness, to sharpness, to want to get a step over and get the ball in the box. It was just like slow, boring. Like, is this what the new wingers were about? Am I missing something here? Because when I was growing up, the wingers was the most entertaining players on the pitch. They're the ones that create chances. They're the ones that get into the box. They're the ones that make things happen. The wingers that we've got now, they're messing about. They're slowing the game down. They're getting the ball to the byline and passing it back, and the ball's going back and back and getting recycled around the back and back round again. That's all I'm seeing. So coming off the back of what you said, we do need wingers that are going to drive into the box, that are going to do a step over, cut inside and shoot, or do a step over the other side, whip the ball in. Just make things happen. They're not creating chances. They're not shooting. So coming off the back of what you said there, you probably are right. We probably do need to think about the wingers we've got. But how many wingers does it take to sign for you to get it right? How many wingers have we signed under this Bowley era now? Please tell me.
So many.
20, 30 wingers we've signed, and the wingers that you've got are still not good enough.
Yeah. No, you're right, mate. You are right. I think with Nico Williams, though, like I think the best bits you've watched of him, Jordan here has said 4 goals. Yeah, so I was right. He's not really scored that many goals this season, but, obviously Williams is one of those players, like you talk about excitement with watching wingers, he can do the kind of tricks and flicks. He's techie, he's scored some nice goals, and he's rapid on the flanks as well. But I just imagine him in Enzo Maresca's system. He's not going to have the freedom to do nearly half as much of the good stuff that
Yeah,
make him a nice player to watch. So, if you look at that side of things, it would be great if he can score if he can score the goals. But obviously, the numbers this season are a little bit more concerning. But he's not going to have half as much of the freedom and expression. Maresca's not going to tell him to be, to take risks, and it's just mad because I have this theory that I don't know what Maresca says to the players, but you see against Brentford, like none of them would shoot. Like for the life of them, none of them would shoot in the first half. Neto came on in the second half and he tried to take some shots and be direct.
yeah.
And Dan and I were talking about this in the studio, and I said, well, why does Neto have the license to be direct and have shots outside the box? Is that just the Sancho problem that he's just more reserved and just won't shoot because he's, I don't know, got some sort of insecurity about shooting? Like, what is it? But I just think that some of our wingers, like even Noni Madueke, I know he hasn't played because he's been injured, but Noni is a player that he doesn't care. He's careless in a good way. Like, he'll just have a crack, he'll take on a play, he'll have a shot. He's eager to get on the score sheet. But even he, like, when he kind of returns, I know he hasn't really played much, like one game, 2 games, but he just doesn't seem like the player that's willing to, again, be that guy that scored 3 goals or scored a hat-trick against Wolves. And I just think that any winger that comes into Maresca's system right now is almost going to be kind of caged in a little bit with just the fact that you've got to keep the ball right. Possession's more important than anything, because if you shoot and you're in a position where you could get hit on the counter or on the break, then God forbid, that's very, very bad. Maresca won't have that, because then that will go away from his 76% possession at the end of the game. And we can't have that because we're a possession-based team, remember? It's possession over anything. So I just think, whatever winger and whatever exciting winger you sign, I almost think you're going to take away from their game a little bit in Maresca's system, because he's not about expressive wingers, really, is he?
Yeah, but what my argument would be with that is when you look in the box and you haven't got that threat as well.
Yes, I hear you. I hear you.
That is probably one of the main reasons why. As a winger, I've played winger. I ain't played in the Premier League, but I've played winger majority of my career when I was growing up. When you've got someone in the box to get the ball into, you do not hesitate, and it's not like the new breed of wingers coming through at the moment. They haven't got final product. Like we're talking about when I was growing up, the David Beckhams, and you can think of many players that take one touch at the foot, whip it in the box, and create opportunities. But at the same time, you had players in the box that could get the head on the ball. Just think David Beckham. He had Van Nistelrooy. How many strikers through his career that he could get the ball into? Who have we got in the box now? Nico Jackson, and he's not that kind of striker, isn't he? He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to get on the end of a loose ball. He's more of an action-packed striker. He wants to be involved with the ball to play. So until we've got a striker who can get on the end of the balls, you're going to continue to see the ball getting recycled, because you're just crossing the ball in the box, crossing the balls. It's safe. Yeah, and this is what's the message will be from Maresca. To if you can't cross the box, recycle the ball and look for another opening elsewhere. And that's what you see every single week. You see Neto, he'll look, he'll do a step over, then he'll turn back out and he'll go the other way. And we'll try and make an opening somewhere else. And then to the point where you got, like you said, 76 possession, no shots on target, because none of them are taking the risk to want to lose the ball or
Maresca will tell you we played well, though. He'll tell you we played well because we kept the ball. So there you go.
That's not the main stat. The only stat of what matters is the score one ultimately. And maybe the wingers haven't been told to be direct. Maybe they've been told to keep possession, but that's not a winger's game. A winger's game is to make things happen, put the ball in the box. A winger's job is how many crosses can you get in. I've been telling my wingers, how many crosses can you get in the box? How many shots can you get away? How many assists can you create? That is a winger's job. A winger's job is not to get to the byline, cut back and pass. A winger's job is not to pass. That's a centre midfielder's role. How many passes? So the whole of the team seem like they've been given the same role. And it's not sustainable, because can we continue to see the way Chelsea playing? It's not on. And
no.
one other thing, the last 10 minutes of the Tottenham game, I bet he didn't realise it. What was we doing? What we haven't been doing all season? What I've been begging for us to do. The last 10 minutes of the Tottenham game, did he realise something?
What?
Kicking the ball long. Was kicking the ball long. I've not seen it once under Maresca
What,
once.
Sanchez?
Yeah, the defensive line was on the halfway line, and everyone was up the field and was kicking the ball long into Tottenham's half and trying to make things happen that way. So it's clear, it's obvious that everything going on at the moment is on Maresca. The tactics down to the team, telling them to do this. He must have said to them, the last 10 minutes of the game, kick it long. Because that's
Yeah.
all we was doing. We wasn't playing at the back. We wasn't allowing Tottenham to press on us. We was kicking it into their half. So it's clear to see that Maresca tells them everything to do. And the tactics right now, it's killing the team because they haven't got the, what's the word I'm looking for? They haven't got the freedom to express themselves. It's all structured. Pass.
Yeah,
So,
maybe that's why Sancho is the way he is. I think because everyone would say, "Oh, Sancho's got a really big ego," and it sounds like the guy looks to pass every single time. He literally won't have a shot at goal. But the thing is, like, I hear your point, and you said something that I agree with there about, the reason we don't have, runners crashing into the box, someone that can, just you can lay a pass off and just can finish it. That means because we're so standoffish at times, we almost kind of like set up in a little semicircle. Someone might, Jackson's great at kind of making those runs, but when he was out, you could see how visibly difficult it was to actually find a breakthrough and, see a run in behind or whatever. So I guess Sancho's late game has been limited a little bit to the fact that, he's been let down a little bit by players around him. But at the same time, it's been ingrained in him so much to keep the ball because he is so good at, he is techie, isn't he? He's good at dribbling. He can like kind of work in tight spaces. So it's been so ingrained in him to keep the ball, don't lose possession, that makes him fearful to actually have a shot because, it could mean that the other team hit us on a break or something. I don't know, but you're right. And,
it's not Sancho's fault. We know what Sancho can do. We've seen it against Tottenham in the first game where he just done 2-step overs, chopped inside, put it in the with a finesse shot in behind the keeper. He's done it brilliantly, and we've seen it for numerous times for Dortmund what he can do. That's Sancho's game. The game that Sancho's doing now, dropping deep, linking play, that's not Sancho's game. He wants Sancho in and behind. He wants Sancho on the last man. He wants Sancho taking players on and cutting in the box and getting in the box and making things happen. I just don't believe he's been given the job role by Maresca to do that. And it's killing his game. The wingers have been nullified because of the way we're setting up. So they just need to have the freedom. The manager needs to say to him, now we need to, how many shots can you get off? Even if it ends up in Roll's head, how many shots can you get off? How many crosses can you put in the box? What can you make happen? I don't want to see you passing the ball. I'm not bothered about how much time do you keep the ball and who can retain the ball. How many shots? That's what they should be monitored on now. What they can do in the final third. Their game, it's been ruined. It's not about your winger. It's not about keeping the ball. That's the midfielders' jobs. That's Caicedo's and he plays next to him, Enzo's job, let's say, to retain the ball, keep the ball. The wingers need to be able to get up the pitch and make things happen. And we know they can do it. So why isn't it happening? And there's only one reason for it. It's because Maresca's saying when you get into the final third, if a cross is not on, retain the ball. And that's why the ball keeps coming back and getting retained and recycled. And it's just boring to see. It's not entertaining. It's not entertaining for us, isn't it? Watching it on a weekly basis. Things have got to change.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's absolutely true. And, obviously Nico Williams is a player that I think, I've seen that Barcelona are obviously in for him as well. And I just think, if I'm Nico Williams, I'm probably sitting there thinking I'd rather play under Flick than Maresca next season. And, you can't really blame him in that regard. So, yeah, we'll see about Williams. But another player that we've been linked with is Borussia Dortmund's youngster, Jamie Gittens. I don't really know an awful lot. I haven't really watched him that much. But, he's supposedly good at dribbling. He scored quite a few goals. He's probably going to be quite... what's the word, keen to move to the Premier League. So, you know, he might fancy Chelsea. But if people in the chat know much about Gittens, obviously we've been linked with him, then let us know. But yeah, the thing is, like, I'd need us to go in for a striker above all, first than anything, you know, and someone that can actually come in and has less of a risk factor of not working out. And, you know, we can't just have PTSD of the big money signings we've made in the past. I don't know. It's going to be tricky, but I think we'll see just how serious Chelsea are about the immediate present day success with how we go about business in summer. You know, bring in a striker, bring in some experience, bring in some actual ready-made talent, and not another what if that we can put on a timeline and just keep going. Oh, he's good. Oh, he's got potential. Oh, play him, start him, bench him. I just can't be asked for that anymore. You know?
Yeah, I really can't. And the thing is, I just feel like we need wingers with different attributes. Like, where is the winger right now who can, with that final ball, like I said, like I mentioned a bit ago, like a David Beckham kind of winger. He's not really bothered about dribbling and taking players on, because he'll pick up the ball in the position, or take one touch at his foot, he'll look up and whip the ball in with quality. I'm not seeing it with Chelsea. Like, I'm not seeing that great. I want to see a bit of quality and into that box. If we get a goal scorers, I want someone who's going to feed the ball to him and put it on his head 9 times out of 10. The wingers that we've got right now, they're all dribblers. I feel like we need to go for Jamie Gittens, good at dribbling. But and the rest of our wingers good at dribbling? Isn't Sancho good at dribbling? Isn't Neto good at dribbling? Isn't Madueke good at dribbling?
Yeah.
All the same attributes. We need to look at a different caliber of winger. Okay, it's difficult in this day and age because, you know, it's all on stats and how much plays you can take on, etc. But I'm sure there's a winger out there at the moment that can get that ball into the box with a bit of quality, because we've got nothing like that. They're all wingers. They all want to take a player on and get to the byline. But when it comes to finding that play in the box, they're not doing it because the final ball's not good enough. So before we start thinking about Jamie Gittens and wingers, maybe get a striker that can head a ball into the back of the net. When's the last time we had the Giroud, off the top of my head, was the last aerial threat striker that we had? And he left 3 years ago. So before we go and sign all these wingers that have got trickery and everything else, why not find someone who can link the ball up to him, or someone that can put the ball into the box to? Because it's just the same patterns every year. Go and sign the Gittens. It's just going to dribble. What to? Dribble to the byline to turn around and pass the ball back. Not making any sense doing that.
No, you're right. You're not wrong. Brian here, just thank you for the super chat. Most of you will see that the ownership will fail. I mean, there's been a lot of failures, right? And a lot of indications to why this is it's not a prosperous project. Maybe it is in their eyes in terms of a financial standpoint, but for us in terms of, you know, competing in tournaments, winning trophies and being a competitive side in the league again is a different question. So, you know, oh God, I think I'm just so exhausted with the whole ownership thing that just see out the season, get us back into Champions League football, and then go and actually have a good transfer window, because we know so many mistakes have been made along the way. It's been a pretty trial and error process. But we can move past it if we actually go in and make the signings that we need. Everything ties in together. Even though I still have my concerns, though, for next season. You know, I always say, okay, we'll get back into Champions League football. Amazing. But how are we going to play in the Champions League under Maresca like that?
Just don't. I listen. This is me speaking, speaking from the heart. Yeah, I don't want Champions League football just to compete, just to go there and get the badge and say, "Oh, we're in the Champions League," for us to get embarrassed on a weekly basis or get knocked out within the group stages. Because the team that we've got now, let's be real, would it have made it past the group stages in this new format? Very unlikely. So I'd rather not go without the embarrassment.
Or we could do a City and have to qualify in playoffs to actually make it through.
Yeah.
You know, the new format is quite humbling, actually.
Yeah, the new format's, it's not easy. So for everyone getting hyped up saying, yeah, we need Champions League football. Yeah, we do. But only if the board are making the right signings to go and win the Champions League. We've always gone out to win it, not just to compete. That's the key to it. the way we are going at the minute and the way we've been running at the minute, we are simply in the Champions League just to be in it for its sake, just to compete, just to say
Just to be
we're
in
in
it.
the Champions League. The ambition of the club doesn't match what we've always seen. Going out and getting Usherman, going out and getting the best players across the planet to go and win it.
Mm,
We are not in it to win it. We're not in it in the Premier League to win it. We're not in the FA Cup. We're not in anything to
yeah.
win it because the proof's in the pudding. 3 years without any silverware. Okay, Europa Conference League. That's nothing to me.
Mm,
I'll rather even say we're not even won it because, the third tier of European football, we need to be showing ambition. From when we're in the Champions League and we're showing ambition, maybe, yeah, I will be excited. But I wouldn't even be excited, Nina. Right now, if we finish fourth, the way things are going and the signings that we're making, I wouldn't be excited about it. What's the point?
mm.
Just for us to go in and get embarrassed by a mid team because that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Literally.
And you can't play boring football. We can't be seeing attack in the Champions League. Do you know what I mean? Or like boring Chelsea, because that's not going to get you anywhere, certainly. And again, I just think that I'd love to say that we're this new phenomenon where we can get back into the Champions League football after our absence and get really far into it with these youngsters that we have that are all still learning on the job to compete in the league, that are actually struggling in the Conference League as well. Let's be very, very realistic here. You can't do that without actually making some additions in the summer transfer window that you can say, yes, put you in this team right now. You can actually help us when we're in the Champions League. You can make an instant impact. You are the caliber of players that we need, players to learn from around you in order to match your energy in the Champions League, in order to match the energy of other teams that have the players for competing in the Champions League. So do you know what I mean? It's like we're so far off at the moment. Yeah, of course we're wishing it. We want to be in the Champions League, but getting there, being in there, competing in there, and actually playing in there is going to be a whole another big thing.
It's just we all know we ain't winning it. The way our mindset, the standards have dropped that low now. We are happy just to be in it to compete, just to have that nice little badge on the shoulder and say, yeah, Champions League team. For what though? For us to get knocked out at the you see what I'm getting to with it. So
No,
I'd
no,
rather
no.
not even
I
have
hear
it.
you.
I'd literally rather not have it. And more importantly, we need to be looking to offload players. Like I'm hearing more news that Lavi's out for a couple more weeks. Volner's out for a couple more weeks. The whole of everything in right now, it stinks, mate. It literally hurts. What have
No, I
we
can
seen?
hear you.
2 years have passed. 2 years have passed. I'm getting older. I'm getting grayer, and Chelsea is still the same. We're getting worse. We're holding on to these players that can't even play 10 games a season. £45 million player and a £75 million player on massive wages can't play 20 games between them. And we're holding on to them season to season, and we believe in that they're just going to get fit. This is the standard.
Yeah.
This
You
is
know what?
worrying. This is the standard.
I know.
It's
Yeah,
worrying.
well, at least I've seen us win the Champions League twice in my lifetime.
We're holding on. We're holding on to memories, literally.
I don't know when it will
Memories
be dead.
FC. Like I'm even
Yeah.
having to go and buy like old Chelsea shirts. Like, I don't even buy new ones. Like I think of all the times growing up, like Gustavo Poyet. I can go through a million players and a million highlights in my mind growing up, and I will never ever see that again at Chelsea. At this present
I will
present
never,
time,
ever,
I won't.
never ever take my first game 0-0 Chelsea Everton for
I
granted.
went to Arsenal and Tottenham. And these are games that I never went to growing up, that I dreamed of going to. And I walked at the stadium thinking, what have I done here? Like, where's the fight? Where's the drive? Where's that moment? Then not one moment in the game we walk out and say, oh, that was brilliant. Wow. I'm not getting that with Chelsea anymore. And it's sad to see the way the club's going. The club has been running to the ground. And yeah, people can say in the chat, oh, we're being negative. We're just speaking facts. We're just being real. You're not speaking negatively when you're just telling the truth, and we are telling the truth.
Yeah, like we know we need to get there. Like we absolutely must secure Champions League football. Don't get me wrong, but once we're there, it's not going to be very pretty. And I think we all need to kind of accept that. But yeah, God, I mean, this turned very negative very quickly, but you're right, it is very realistic. But anyways, as we round it out, guys, just let us know yes or no in the chat, everyone. Will Chelsea secure Champions League football? Very, very simply, yes or no. And we'll round this one out because, yeah, I mean, obviously transfer news, great. You know, we are going to make transfers and, you know, we will have to make additions to the squad. Obviously, there will be departures, etc. But, you know, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. You've got a mixed yeah, no, yeah. So there you go.
The one question to the people in the chat. There's one thing being in the Champions League. That's a good question to ask. But more importantly, this is Chelsea Football Club. Do you believe we will win it? And
no.
that's one thing.
No, simple as that.
It's just like saying. It's just like saying. What can? It's too. We haven't got enough time. But what's the point being in something not to win it?
Yeah. Well, there you go.
That's my other point.
Anyways, guys, we'll wrap this up. You guys will get your evening stream tonight, so hang around for that. Hit the like button and subscribe to Chelsea Fan TV if you haven't done so already. Thanks very much for sticking around till the end. And yes, we will see you very, very soon. Thank you very much.